where I'm just going to quickly react to the 2024 Christmas special of Outnumbered, which I absolutely love as a show. It's one of my comedic inspirations. The concept is great. It's semi improv because it has to be, because it's following a bunch of children, or it was following a bunch of children, which is actually interesting because I think this episode probably historically is the least semi improvised, because everyone is now in their 20s, and so it's harder to kind of do the whole adult comedian actors bouncing off the weird stuff that kids just say because you're no longer a kid. So I guess, I don't know, maybe some of it was semi-improvised. Maybe you can still like output that inner childhood, but there was some of the acting, and bear in mind, like, at least two of the children don't act full time. It seems from the Wikipedia article. The one who plays Jake is probably the one who has the most acting credits outside of Outnumbered, and even then, they don't seem to have acted in about 3 years. That seems like being particularly harsh. They do, none of them do a bad job. I think there's just a few things where the blocking and the direction and the acting is a bit like clearly directed, not naturalistic, in a way which is actually not inconsistent with a lot of other sitcom comedy kind of acting. So I'm not like trying to be harsh or anything. It's just I'm making a comparison between. I think there's probably less improv in this episode than previously. But I don't know why I'm saying my negatives. First of all, I actually really like this episode. I got teary. It pulled my heartstrings. Everything I want from Outnumbered. A show which I've kind of grew up on. Or like I haven't not been that kind of following it closely in its original run, but I did kind of like, I think, chip in on reruns, and like the entire concept is great, and the idea of semi-improv comedy is something that I mean, it's the reason why when I direct films or write comedies, I always encourage actors to kind of improvise, because I always believe you should trust the actors to know the character, and they should always try and have their critical input into that, and a lot of that inspiration comes from Outnumbered. But yeah, I do think they put in the character of Rani. Was that her name? Rani? Jake's daughter. Jake's daughter. So they could have that still aspect of a child just being a child, and that just like off of it. But yeah, it was heartfelt. I think they do a really good job. Like, for all what sounded like criticism a few seconds ago, it's clear that all these actors know their characters very, very well, because they all believably. I just saw on an article, it's been 8 years since the last special. It doesn't feel like that long. Like, God, it's time passes. This show makes me feel old. Like, this show makes me feel like an adult. And just like the tiredness of some of the characters in this, like, well, Jake in particular, and I'm like, oh man, that's a mood. Yeah, it's wild to think it's been 8 years since the last episode, which was, I think, the 2016 Christmas special. And I remember watching that and being like, oh, all of these characters represent different aspects of my brain and my mentality, and yeah, I watched the episode and I still feel a bit of like kinship towards them all, because, you know, at least for the last 14 years, I've been a big fan of this show. I've not watched it since its original 2007. I didn't follow it since its original 2007 run. But yeah, I think for the Christmas specials, it's much more kind of like smaller scale, like kind of return to the characters. But like I said, they all like represent the trajectory of the characters all makes sense. I like the fact that Ben isn't just this like silly, childish person, but he's actually matured, but he still kind of keeps some of that childish kind of charm in a way which, you know, I mean, I am like the Ben of the children, I think, in kind of who I was as a child growing up, and I've now kind of evolved into this figure where I like, you know, I'm someone who like enjoys health and safety.
Motion detected at the front door.
Alexa, volume 0. Almost and I already did that, but never mind. And like, yeah, the reveal that Ben is like, does like runs training sessions of health and safety. I can see it's usually the chaotic people in childhood. I say that, I have no clue if that's true or not, but it's certainly true of me. There's some kind of joy of being a danger-minded child, progressing into like being able to like see the dangers and then actually like risk assess them. But yeah, there were some very heartfelt scenes between Jake and his parents as Jake kind of reflects on being like not a new parent, but parent of a 3-year-old, which I guess the different stages of your first child each come with its progressively new challenges, and having to like relay his struggles to his parents and then like comforting him on that, and like emphasizing their own experiences. And it's something which has more heartfelt value because obviously we watched the show in 2007, 2010 when, I mean, I don't think any of the children were that young, but we can believe them to have been that level of craze based on what they were when they were a bit older. So that was cute. Yeah, it was an adorable little special. Probably not as laugh out loud as it has been, but a lot of that laugh out loud value obviously came from the kids just being kids, which you're not obviously going to go back to nowadays. But it's a worthwhile kind of progression. Like, I didn't feel cheated out of seeing them again. So those are my thoughts. I need to go make food and eat food and go to sleep because I need to be up in 4 hours time. Why do I do this to myself? I guess I could just go to sleep, but that's not very like healthy of me. I should probably eat. Okay, get out of my house.